It's Halloween, and off the eastern seaboard, a violent storm is brewing. Pararescue man John Spillane has been called in for an urgent mission.
You picking up, huh?
A pararescueman is a skydiving, mountain climbing, scuba diving, surviving medic. We would take enormous risk, and we were willing to take that risk to save life.
He's part of a military chopper crew, standing by to rescue sailors trapped by the storm.
It's the training flight stuff.
Yeah. Come on.
What is it?
We got a rescue mission from the Coast Guard.
Fellow pararescue man Rick Smith has news of a stranded yacht off the coast.
Okay, guys, take a seat. So, we got a long...
Pilot Dave Rivola leads the five-man team.
We all evaluated the weather, and yeah, it is risky, but there was somebody's life at stake.
The stranded yacht is located 450 kilometers off the coast.
39, 57 minutes north.
Co-pilot Graham Bushaw will navigate them there.
In this particular situation, 250 nautical miles out to sea, it's beyond the range of most helicopters. So yes, it ramps up the risk on the mission substantially.
Only the military's helicopters can reach the yacht.
Looks like this could get rough. We all set? Yes, sir.
But it'll require dangerous mid-air refueling.
Okay, Jim, cockpit checklist.
Yeah, APU control switch.
The crew of Air Force Rescue 110 is ready to roll. As they leave, reports come in that the weather system off the east coast is developing fast. Two massive fronts are colliding with a hurricane. But the forecasters have no idea how dangerous it will become.
Shall I open the sunroof?
The joker in our pack is by far Graham Bushaw. He's a lot of fun to be around, and he certainly is a joker. There's no doubt about it.
So what are you doing for Halloween, Graham? I go to my sister Elaine's. We do a party there every year, like an annual thing.
We all work together very well. Dave, the aircraft commander, very goal-oriented individual.
Being in charge and being a leader kind of comes naturally to me. When I was a kid, I mean, I was never the first or second to be picked. I was always the captain.
Myself, I'm a little more laid back. I think Jim Mioli falls more into that category also.
I loved helicopters, anything about helicopters. Then when you add the neat kind of man-toy stuff that we have, it's a lot of fun.
Rick was reserved on the quiet side, very professional, and John was more vocal than Rick.
I guess it was an amazing time of my life. I was only married at this point 2 years. We were expecting our first child. My wife was 5 months pregnant.
Half an hour in, and the crew get ready for the first refueling.
Airspeed 120, altitude 1500. We've got 45 minutes of gas left.
In these turbulent conditions, Dave Rivola's skills as a pilot will be tested to the limit.
You need to overcome the anxiety and the fear factor of flying that close to another airplane.
He needs to gently ease the helicopter's probe into a supply line, trailing behind a flying fuel tanker.
You know, you've got spinning rotor blades that are rotating around, you know, at a very, very high velocity. And obviously, if that hits anything, you know, there's going to be a problem.
Okay, extending the refueling probe.
Air Force Rescue 988 to Air Force Rescue 110, copy that.
It's like playing a video game and getting points.
Way to go. Air Force Rescue 110.
When you hit that drogue, even in clear weather, it's like, whoop, you know,
We have contact.
it always makes you feel good.
Air Force Rescue 988 to Air Force Rescue 110.
The crew now has enough fuel to reach the stricken yacht. But as they plow on, weather conditions deteriorate.
I do remember having butterflies in my stomach because it was going to be a challenging mission. We become aware that the winds are very gusty. The waves are up to 40 feet. And we're starting now to realize we're at our limits.
The youngest of the crew, Jim Mioli, has never flown in weather this bad.
I just got out of school. I was very green. Graduated, just less than a year before, so I was Very new, very green. Rookie.
Nervous?
I'm a little.
Nerves are good.
Two hours in, Air Force Rescue 110 reaches the stranded yachtsman.
Air Force Rescue 110 to Air Force Rescue 988, we have visual contact. I don't like the look of this, Dave.
And this is where it got dicey, because the sail had been ripped off, the mast was pretty much straight up, and now the seas were very, very rough, and the winds were very strong.
Again, this guy in the boat, he looked like, to me, like a rubber ducky in a bathtub. He's just getting splashed around or knocked around.
The plan is for John and Rick to rope down into the sea.
Pretty extreme, huh?
Then Jim will hoist them all back to safety. But in this weather, it won't be an easy pickup.
It sounds quite simple. Let's send a cable down, somebody grabs it, and they get up inside the helicopter. It is not even remotely close to that easy. I have no problem putting PJs in that type of environment. They are extremely good swimmers, extreme physical conditioning, no concern at all that they would be able to swim over to the boat and get this guy off the boat. The big concern was getting everybody back into the helicopter. Put 2 PJs in the water and we can't get them on, now we have 3 survivors that we have to deal with.
Okay, that looks rough. What do you guys think?
It's Jim's responsibility to winch everybody safely back to the chopper.
Can you get us any closer, Dave? That's about as close as I can go. I don't want to get too tight to the mast.
It's his call, whether or not they go for the rescue.
And one of the big problems is with the hoist cable, it'll act like a cutter and literally cut through, you know, arms, cut off arms, or worse, maybe wrapped around that person's neck, literally decapitate him.
It's your call, Jim.
How we doing back there, Jim?
Nah, it's too risky. I can't do it.
It was a tough decision. It really was. We went all the way out to try to get this guy up, and you know, just I didn't think I could do it.
Okay, let's head back. Radio in the decision.
Air Force 110 to Air Force 988.
That was the first mission I was on where, you know, we had to actually turn around and say no to it. That was a very disheartening experience.
Conditions too poor to execute rescue. Over.
But it was the right decision. It's not all like Hollywood, you know? The hero doesn't always come out alive and everything works out fine.
I thought that took a lot of courage for Jim to speak up. To be right there looking at that survivor, ready to go. The most junior person on the crew spoke up and said, I don't think we can do this mission.
Air Force Rescue 110 heads back, leaving the yachtsman to wait for a ship rescue. But home is still 450 kilometers away, and the superstorm is building. Like throwing gasoline on a fire, colliding storm fronts are re-energizing an old hurricane to become a cyclone of epic proportions. These are tough conditions for refueling, but Dave must take on fuel if he's to get the crew back to base.
We came up on our 4th and final air refueling, and that's when the weather went from bad to horrendous in almost the blink of an eye.
I mean, we just knew that we were in for a hell of a ride. We did not know that we were flying inside basically a hurricane-force storm.
This is the worst weather conditions I had ever flown in, and there isn't anything you can do about it. You can't tell God to turn the weather off.
Dave has never refueled in weather conditions this severe.
And I really had to fly this thing very aggressively.
Airspeed 110, altitude 1,500 feet.
There's plenty of dangers. You could bump into the 130, catastrophic failure, fall out of the sky.
Okay, we need to get this over with fast.
You could bump into the hose with the rotor blades. You lose rotor blades and basically fall out of the sky. You know, helicopter crashes, uncontrolled crashes, are not normally survivable.
There was turbulence that, you know, was really rocking us left and right, up and down, any which way you can imagine. We were hanging on for dear life.
Guys are vomiting. The airplane being buffeted, you know, plus or minus 100 foot. I'm trying to go down, it's going up.
We've got 20 minutes of gas.
Fuel is running low.
It's critical that we get it. There's no place else to go to put the helicopter down other than the ocean.
They're still 150 kilometers from land.
Where the hell is it gone?
And he can't even see the refueling plane through the clouds.
Back up!
Couldn't hide from my own guys. They saw me up close and personal and what I was up against, trying to get this damn probe in this drogue. Yeah, there were a few choice words that came out of my mouth inside the cockpit. There's no doubt about it.
The cloud ceiling is dropping, going down to 500.
Air Force Rescue 110.
We're doing a lot of suggestions, turning in a different heading, different direction, climbing down, all different situations to find clearer air so we can get gas and get home.
We'd like to try this at 500 feet.
Dave takes the chopper lower to get below the storm. But the turbulence only gets worse.
Come on. Come on.
We'd been doing this for more than half an hour. Well, now I knew we were crossing that line, that things were beyond our control, that we may not get fuel. And once I realized that, the thought of ditching the helicopter became a reality. And that was actually the most frightful period for me of that whole mission, was that thought, to realize we may have to abandon the helicopter.
Altitude 490 feet.
Dave knows he may only have one more chance to connect with the refueling drogue and save his crew.
5 minutes of fuel remaining.
At that point, my low-level fuel lights begin flashing. Now it's decision time. If we don't get this fuel, we're all going swimming.
5 minutes of fuel remaining.
Dave has run out of time. He faces the hardest decision of his life.
There was no option left. If I continued to use that fuel, thinking of my own ego that I can do this, that I can make this, you know, that could have killed everybody.
He can't save the chopper, but he might be able to save his crew. With the last drops of fuel, Dave takes the chopper down to let them bail out.
Okay, listen up. We are ditching this chopper. Jim, prepare the life raft. John and Rick, get ready to jump.
The pressure to make that decision had to be enormous. There was no objection from the crew, but he wasn't asking.
Okay, guys, let's do this.
I was scared. I didn't think we were going to survive.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Air Force Rescue 110, ditching at coordinates 3.
It was something that I don't think everybody really believed was happening, even though it was actually happening.
So when he said ditching, I didn't think I could do it. I think it was more of a being scared out of my mind.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Air Force Rescue 110, ditching at coordinates.
With just minutes of fuel remaining, the crew prepares survival equipment and the life raft.
5 souls on board.
Okay, I'm coming to the harbor. I want everyone out of here.
Air Force 988 to Air Force Rescue 110. Copy your mayday in position.
Dave hovers just above the crest of the waves to let the crew bail out.
waves now are a lot bigger than what they had been when we were trying to get the guy in the sailboat.
Dave is now so close, he runs the risk of a high wave taking the chopper out.
Okay, I'm not able to hold this much longer.
Altitude, Dave, altitude.
We're running on fumes. It's time to go.
Number 1 engine offline. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
It could be seconds before we're going in the water. My number 1 engine flames out on me. I'm hovering on 1 engine.
I could actually hear the turbines wind down. I knew it was going to fall out of the sky at any moment.
Everyone out! Everyone out!
They must time their jump to the split second to hit the crest of a wave.
If you mistime your jump and hit the trough of a wave, you're looking at falling 70 feet. So hitting the water at 70 feet would be like hitting concrete.
But they must jump now. The chopper has only seconds of fuel left.
We're running on fumes. It's time to go.
Rick will be first to go. If he mistimes his jump, he could fall 20 meters into the trough of a wave and kill himself.
He looked like a spring, coiled, ready to jump. I don't recall him ever taking his eyes off of the ocean. He never looked at me.
Rick vanishes, and John gets ready to jump.
I was looking out of the aircraft at the water. I couldn't tell exactly when to jump because I couldn't tell the difference between the crest of the wave and the trough of the wave.
But just when there seems no hope, John spots a distant light.
I couldn't see that well, though, because my retinas had hemorrhaged from the impact. I had a blue haze across my eyes. But every once in a while, I would see the strobe. So I'm thinking that there could be human beings attached to those strobes. And that's a good thing. But the dilemma was, if I could do anything about closing this distance, do I really want to do that? That was a real dilemma. I don't want to close this gap because I don't want to be there and die in their presence. I want to be by myself. And then I had this recollection from survival training. There's strength in numbers. Stay together as long as you can. And I couldn't ignore that.
John signals his position with his scuba light and starts to swim. But a kilometer of ferocious waves and hurricane winds separate him from the strobe light. With such severe injuries, he doesn't know if he can make it.
We saw a light, and this light got brighter and brighter. You know, what the hell is it? It's on the surface, and it's not a life raft.
And I just kept swimming and swimming. After an hour, I noticed I was closing the gap, that I was getting closer to the strobe light.
But as it got closer and closer, and it took a long time to get to us, I realized that it was John Spillane.
And I think it was probably another hour before I actually got there.
No! John! Are you okay?
Jim and I were both elated that we had, John with us. It was a great feeling. But we could see the pain on his face of how badly he was injured.
John!
He was in tremendous pain. Very, very bad pain.
We'll get you out of here.
My focus shifted from me to Jim's predicament. Seeing the hood on Jim Meoli, I thought was a very brave act. That simple. I knew that that was decreasing Dave's survivability. But I also recognized what a tremendous help it was to Jim, that it was increasing his survivability.
Jim can't control his own body. The muscles violently spasm in a bid to generate warmth, but he's on a rapid downward spiral.
While I was getting wasted by these waves and, freezing, with the hypothermia, the only real thought I had, it is silly, is who's taking care of my dog? Like, I hope someone gets my dog so that, they can walk her or feed her.
Once the rescuers, now the elite crew of Air Force Rescue 110, are in desperate need of rescue themselves.
There was one particular wave that drove us under and separated us.
And as that happened, I saw the look of terror in John's eyes. He was very, very concerned that if he didn't link back up with us, that his chances of survival were not good. And to see that look of terror on one of your brother's faces, that was a wake-up call to me of just how bad he was.
But Dave manages to pull his men back together. He's fighting heroically to keep them alive.
Having two individuals with me, both of whom were worse than I was, Jim's body temperature and John's injuries, they needed me.
That was a very scary moment because we almost didn't get back together.
Even if a rescue can be mounted, the storm has driven them over 30 kilometers from the point they ditched their helicopter. They're now just dots, lost in the Atlantic. If Jim isn't rescued soon, he will die. And with each hour, the storm is intensifying.
I was facing the facts, and they were brutal at this point. I felt the odds were against us. I believed we wouldn't survive.
With no rescue in sight, they face a lingering death, lost in the freezing Atlantic waters.
Stay with us, Jim. Stay with us.
Dave struggles to keep Jim alive, but he's in the final stages of hypothermia.
Jim!
He's losing consciousness.
Jim, you stay with us!
His vital organs are shutting down.
The hypothermia kind of made me like in and out of awareness of what was going on.
I was concerned that Jim would go into a coma, yeah. But that's how he would eventually go. He was lethargic, he was slow. Jim was slowly fading away.
But just when there seems no hope,
Over here!
All of a sudden, we saw lights kind of like reflecting against the clouds.
their mayday calls have been picked up. A Coast Guard helicopter has battled 150-kilometer-an-hour winds to reach them.
Their cabin door went open on the right side, and their hoist operator actually was sending out a rescue basket on the end of the hoist cable. And we're like, oh, this is great, we'll be done soon.
It was this incredulous feeling that we actually overcame the odds here.
Yeah.
But as I watched him, I could see his altitude fluctuating. At times, it looked like he was going to be driven right into the sea. At some point, I know Dave Rivola yelled to me that he didn't think he would be trying this, implying that if he had been flying that helicopter, he didn't think he would be trying it.
He was right there. He could see us, but he couldn't get us, based on the intense, conditions out there.
The Coast Guard helicopter battles for an hour trying to rescue them before accepting defeat.
It was a brave but futile attempt to recover us. But kudos to those guys. They gave it all they had for a long time until they had to leave to return to base to refuel.
If these guys couldn't pick us up, you know, really, there's no one left.
The last survivors of Air Force Rescue 110 have fought to stay together. Now, they will die together.
You can't fight Mother Nature. You know, she has her own plans for you.
I'm wondering, what point will I be so exhausted that I can't resist anymore? That I can't fight to get air. And that was frightening because I knew that point was going to come. It was very sad and frustrating because I wasn't ready. I needed more time.
They needed me, and I was going to do whatever I had to do to, you know, make it through, get them through this, get us through.
Even to this day, you know, I wonder how Dave had such strong hope. I don't think he doubted that he was going to see the rest of his life. He was going to see the next day and the day after that.
Then we saw lights again. And I said to the guys, I said, that's a ship. You know, we could actually see it, and we could see its color, okay? It was white. It was a beautiful white ship, huge, big white ship. And then they began to fire off illumination flares.
It's the Coast Guard ship Tamaroa, its crew risking capsizing to rescue them.
The hope was back. That's the way out. That's our ticket home.
Love those guys. Tamaroa, Coast Guard, all the way.
We, by the grace of God, were bound together that night of October 30th, 1991. And we will forever be bound together based on that incident.
It took Jim Meoli a year to recover from the ordeal. John Spillane underwent a number of operations for his injuries. Dave Revola survived the incident unscathed. They came aboard to find co-pilot Graham Bashaw had already miraculously been picked up.
Although you're glad you're alive, we're still missing a crew member, you know, and that's when it really hit home that, you know, there's still somebody out there. And, you know, that was Rick. You know, the Coast Guard cutter continued through the night looking for Rick and continued through the next day. And, well, they never found him. And that was particularly hard.
For 10 days, a combined forces operation searched almost 100 square kilometers of ocean for Rick. His body was never found.
It's so sad that he actually experienced what we all knew was a possibility, that he died doing this job. He was willing to take the risk. So I'm happy for him in that sense, that he got to live that life. But I'm very sad that he was one of the people who wasn't able to survive his career.
He left behind 4 daughters, the youngest just 2 weeks old.
He died while attempting to save somebody else's life. What better way to go? Very, very unfortunate, but that's who Rick was. Rick was a warrior. Rick was dedicated to rescuing people. That's what he did.
The perfect storm, as it became known, lasted 7 days, caused $200 million of damage to the East Coast, and killed 12 people. All 4 crewmen returned to active duty. The sailor they'd been sent to rescue was picked up by the Coast Guard the following day.
There's a pararescue creed that ends with the motto, "These things we do, that others may live."
Korea.
As a 38-year-old man, I had a wife and children to look after.
Rob,
I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do.
what is it that you're so scared of?
Rangi, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm late.
I want an answer.
Dying, Rangi. Losing you, the kids. That's what I'm scared of. I gotta go.
Rob.
The mood wasn't very good that morning when he left.
Life changed for me in a way that I wasn't quite ready for. After 20 years in the Navy, you get 9 weeks leave, and you can go and decide what it is you want to try and achieve.
Seeking a new direction in life, Rob hopes to use his Navy experience and become a professional diving instructor.
Sorry, mate.
I guess one of the things that I've been trained in was never be late, and what I didn't want to show for my first dive with the group of guys that I was with was that I didn't want to be late. After 20 years in the Navy, yeah, I was never late for anything.
Let's go.
And for the first time, he's joined a civilian dive team for a crayfish hunt around the coastal island of Mana. As the boat heads to its first anchor point, Rob eats a light breakfast and looks forward to what he thinks will be the simplest dive of his life.
I had dived more places in the world than what I had in my own backyard. Here I was diving over in Singapore, Afghanistan, Australia. As I'm on the boat heading out towards our first dive spot, I'm thinking it's a beautiful day. The water is clean and clear. This is too easy. The mood on the boat was one of excitement. There was some jovial laughing and jokes going on. Then the challenges start popping up. You know, how long can you stay under the water for? How big a crayfish can you get? Thought I'd better get in the water and show them how it's done.
For safety, the divers all swim in pairs. As Rob heads under the water with his diving buddy, he feels the familiar thrill of excitement.
I remember when growing up as a child, I used to watch that program Aquaman, Man from Atlantis, and used to dream that was me. Once I hit the water, I feel like I'm at home. Once I hit the seabed bottom, I proceed to get myself in the hunter-gathering mode. Sometimes when I'm under the water, I'd look under a rock or behind a rock, and I'd think to myself, has anyone else seen this? Has anything else passed over this bit of rock? Am I the first person in the history of this rock to actually touch it or to look at it? And that gives me a sense of strength. It also gives me a sense of achievement. I love a quietness. The only thing that I can hear is my heartbeat.
Rob has spent years underwater, successfully locating bodies, mines, and enemy frogmen. But finding crayfish proves surprisingly difficult.
So I'd spend 20 minutes under the water and I'd come back with nothing.
Last dive of the day, mate. See if you can catch a crab this time.
Yeah.
And then this guy showed me his crayfish and he just shoved it in my face and said, look at this. And I'm just like any other bloke. It's a bit of a challenge. And I'm thinking, right, you know, the next dive I was going to find the biggest crayfish that I can.
But this time, as Rob and his dive buddy descend, there's a problem. Unable to clear the air from his ears, it's too painful for Rob's body to dive.
I felt gutted. There were 8 other divers under the water somewhere.
Given his 20 years' experience as a Navy diver, Rob decides there's only one option: to dive alone.
This is it. I'm going to come back with a sack full of crayfish and just show these guys that I'm the king diver.
Rob's injured pride has clouded his professional judgment. Scuba diving is one of the most dangerous pursuits in the world. If he gets into trouble this far underwater, without a buddy, then there'll be no one to raise the alarm.
As I'm swimming through the kelp and I push it aside, I see some sea urchins or kinna, and my wife and I love this stuff.
The urchins will make a good starter, but Rob's after the main course: crayfish.
My instincts was to shoot off. Didn't care about the depth, I just shot straight after it. I start making my way through the kelp and the seaweed, looking around every nook and cranny. I quickly grabbed it and put it in my bag.
Rob's pride is restored, but in his haste to catch the crayfish, he hasn't noticed a critical change in the water around him.
I felt something different. A lot of cold water just ran over me. I turned and looked at the water and it was swirling all over the place.
Suddenly Rob's hit by a powerful rip current, a narrow channel of fast-moving water that instantly drags him away from the dive site.
I'm tumbling around, not knowing what's up or what's down.
In the unstoppable current, Rob risks drowning by losing his breathing apparatus or smashing into an underwater boulder.
I can feel myself getting deeper and deeper. And I remember thinking to myself, was this it? Was this death? as I'm tumbling around, getting disorientated. It could have been a matter of seconds, or it could have been 2 or 3 minutes. Time had no value.
The current is sucking Rob deeper and deeper. If he hits a rock, he'll be knocked unconscious and drown.
My ears are starting to pop, and I'm finding it hard to breathe. I grab the rock and I just push up. I kick as hard as I can, as fast as I can to get out of the rip. And the light was coming towards me.
Oh, thank God!
I was saved. My train of thought was that I'd only be around about 45, 50 metres on the stern of the boat. But then I turned around and I couldn't see where the boat was. I did a 360-degree turn, and then I couldn't believe how far I was away from the dive boat.
In a matter of minutes, the current has pushed Rob nearly a kilometre from the boat. A proud Maori man with years of training behind him, he decides to swim back to the boat.
I don't want to be judged by my peers. Rob Hewitt, he was the guy that got rescued 3 days before he left the Navy. I've done a lot of swim training with my dive gear on. This was my second home. I would kick as long as I needed to kick, and I would get to where I needed to get to.
But despite paddling hard, the boat doesn't seem to get any nearer.
What?
As I'm on the surface swimming towards the boat, every now and again I try and identify where the boat is. I can feel the current pushing me. I'm not making any headway.
Dragged out into deep water, Rob is now in the grip of dangerous coastal currents that surge between New Zealand's North and South Islands.
Help! Over here! Come over here, boss!
I yelled out as loud as I could.
Hey! Help! Over here! Help! Over here!
But they couldn't hear me. They couldn't see me.
Help!
Rob's diving gear keeps him afloat, but it's impossible to swim to shore. The current continues to push him further out to sea. Rob's dive companions realise that there's a man lost and alert the Coast Guard.
It seems like there's 2 to 3, 5 boats all looking. They're all looking in the wrong place.
Less than half a metre above the surface, Rob's outline is easily hidden by the swell, and the rescuers have no idea he's being washed away by a current.
I need to get rescued by anything or anyone just to get out of the water.
But as minutes turn to hours, the coastal waters suck him away from the search area, away from land, and into the deadly Tasman Sea.
I see this plane coming towards me.
Oh, yes, yes!
My heart picks up.
Down here!
I think to myself that I can see the plane can see me. I'm going to be rescued.
Down here! Down here! Come on, I'm down here!
But the plane just keeps on going past me. I couldn't understand why they couldn't see me.
Now come back!
From the air, Rob is just a speck in an unrelenting slab of grey.
Please, come back!
As the plane flies away from me and it gets smaller and smaller, my heart drops. The rescue is dwindling. I find myself 5 miles from Mana Island, and I know that I'm still getting pushed out.
As the sun begins to set, Rob faces a daunting reality. The rescue planes won't be able to find him in the dark, but the sharks that live in these waters will.
I look at the sunset. It's the most beautiful sunset that I've seen. It could be the last. I thought that I'd be rescued by now, but I still find myself out here.
As the last light of day fades, Rob prepares himself for his first night in the ocean alone. He knows he will have to draw on all his diving experience if he is to make it till morning. This will be the sternest test he's ever faced.
I don't know if I'm man enough to push through the night and survive. I don't know how to do that. I've completed night dives with my time in the Navy, but I don't know anyone that has survived out at night in the middle of nowhere.
Meanwhile, Rob's wife, Rangi, finds out he's missing.
When 2 police officers knock on your door, you think, geez, what is up? You know, something can't be good. From our conversation earlier that morning,
What is it that you're so scared of?
I had a feeling that he shouldn't have left. So it was very hard.
Alone in the sea, Rob faces the greatest challenge of his life. Make it through the night alive and pray for rescue in the morning. To try and stay warm, Rob adopts the Navy's help position by folding his limbs in tight. But floating motionless, his body heat quickly drains away.
Every little move I make, I can feel the cold water getting into places through an opening of my wetsuit, underneath the feet or in between the gloves, and coming down my neck.
Alone in the ocean, he's well aware of the threat from sharks, which hone in on weak and vulnerable prey.
I just stayed there motionless. You could hear a pin drop. Every little wave, every little crack behind me. I was trying to slow my heartbeat down because I didn't want it to make noise or vibration in the water because it might alert the shark.
Please, Lord.
All I want to know is when the sun's coming up.
Thank God. Thank you.
Miraculously, after 18 hours alone, Rob is still alive, and his hopes of rescue soar.
When I saw the sun, I thought to myself, right, this is it. You're going to get out of this one.
Help me.
But as the sun got to about 10 o'clock, I'd seen no rescue effort.
The current has now taken Rob 16 kilometres from the original dive site.
I felt abandoned.
It's been 20 hours since Rob was first swept out to sea. Alone and terrified, he's desperate to talk to someone or something.
One of the things that I'd been told about being out at sea was that loneliness was going to kill you.
But Rob is not entirely alone.
Looks like it's just you and me then, huh?
I saw my crayfish that I'd caught. At this point in time, this crayfish was the closest friend that I had. I called him Tama. Even though I knew this was crazy land, you know, a crayfish can't talk back to me, but I'm having a conversation with this crayfish.
So, buddy, what's your plans for the weekend? Huh? Swimming. Swimming.
After the calm, a southerly wind begins to lash the surf.
The wind got stronger. The waves are pushing me from the left to the right, kicking me in the back and punching me in the front. My eyes are stinging, I can't see anything. And as I was wiping the water away from my face, unbeknown to myself, I was actually cutting away at my face with the Kevlar gloves that I had on.
28 hours of constant soaking has left Rob's skin loose and vulnerable to bacteria and injury.
I looked at my hand and it was translucent. The fingernails had started to come off. The pain that I felt was unbelievable.
The sea is slowly killing him, and there's nothing he can do.
I started to vomit yellowy bile, the last ingredients in my stomach.
Rob has had nothing to eat or drink since entering the water.
I thought I'd hit rock bottom. I needed to try and figure out how to stop vomiting and to put something in my stomach.
Rob's catch bag contains the seafood he caught yesterday, which could keep him alive.
I grabbed my knife and cracked open my first sea urchin. I feel my body just grabbing all of the sustenance and energy out of it. Cracked the second one open. I shoved all of the guts and the roe down my throat, eating and licking away at the shell. I looked into my bag. I saw Tama sitting there, still flapping, still alive.
Naming and talking to the crayfish has eased Rob's crippling loneliness. But the time for sentiment is over.
Sorry, Tama. Sorry, man.
It tasted as if it was the first meal I'd ever had.
The feast has bought Rob more time. But over 20 kilometers out to sea, his chances of being rescued are increasingly unlikely. And with no fresh water to drink, Rob knows he needs a miracle if he is to survive.
And just before the sun went down, it started to rain. Down into my mouth, onto my swollen tongue, and opened up my mouth as wide as I could. The fresh water that landed on my tongue and around my lips was unbelievably great. I tried to grab and suck as much fresh water as I could. It gave me a sense of life. I had another chance.
The crayfish meat and brief rain shower are just enough to pull Rob back from the brink and fire his will to survive.
And the water, the salt water, was getting into the cuts. Here I was, thanking God for a beautiful day, but this beautiful day would bring me pain.
In normal conditions, the human body can go 3 days without water, but that's vastly reduced in the ocean. Having drunk only a few drops of rainwater, Rob is dying of dehydration. The relentless sun only makes it worse.
There was only one place for me to hide, and that was under the water.
But every roll below the surface washes salt water into open sores.
I could hardly breathe.
Please, God. He's seen no sign of rescue for 3 days. And if the sharks don't kill him, lack of water certainly will. He can either wait for a slow and agonizing death, or take things into his own hands.
I feel like I just had a gutful of the torture. I just felt like it was my time just to say goodbye to everyone and everything.
Dear God, look after my family. Look after my family. Oh. Rangi.
As I'm under the water, I can feel my heart beating, as if it's beating out of my chest. I can just feel the thump, thump, thump in my head. Oxygen is wanting to get there, but I'm not allowing it to. I just wanted to kill myself.
After 3 days of drifting miles out to sea with no sign of rescue, he decides to drown himself and bring his suffering to an end. But the sea isn't ready to let Rob go.
When I came to, I felt gutted. I couldn't even kill myself properly.
Rob now knows he's facing certain death alone and takes what comfort he can from thoughts of his loved ones.
I tried to call out names of people that I loved just to give me some sort of connection.
Casey. I love you, son. Fire. Rangi.
Rob has now drifted over 60 kilometers. Ironically, the ocean current that pushed him north switches and drives him back towards the dive site. But approaching a third night in the water, Rob is too weak to notice.
I thought to myself, well, if I wake up in the morning, I'll wake up. If I don't, I'll be with my grandparents.
On the mainland, rescuers think Rob must be dead. But his wife, Rangi, refuses to believe he's gone and calls to her Maori ancestors with an offering.
Tangaroa hoki mai toku whaia ko. 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 Tangaroa hoki mai toku whaia ko.
I had my greenstone, which one of my grandparents had given me, and tied it with my daughter's stone that Rob had given to her. While I was doing that, I was doing a calling out to my ancestors to return him back to us.
I've given you these tonga of ours. Now give my tonga back to me.
Rangi's prayers may be too late. After 4 days, with barely any fresh water, Rob's behaviour becomes wildly irrational.
I felt claustrophobic in my wetsuit. I had started to strip it off. I chucked my dive hood as if I'm in the garage, just tossing it on the table.
The insulating layers of rubber are the only thing preventing him from dying of hypothermia. But he no longer cares.
I then take off my dive fins. And the dive fins are the last thing that any diver would take off because they're the things that are going to keep you up when you're kicking.
Nearly 75 hours since he first dived for crayfish. Rob is unaware that the ocean current has deposited him back where he started, near Manor Island. And he's ditched all the gear that has kept him afloat and alive.
I can feel the energy going quickly, the will to live disappearing and waiting for death to come. All I can see is a white fluffy cloud just sitting there. I've said for my children, my family, no one would have known that I at least tried to stay alive for 3 days. Tried to stay alive for them. All I'm worried about and concentrating on is that cloud. I hear this sound. And I see this thing in my peripheral vision. Is it the sound of death?
Hey, Rob!
The Maori gods have answered Rangi's prayers.
He's got it.
75 hours after he was last seen, rescuers spot a dive hood floating near the original dive site. And close by, they finally find Rob Hewitt.
I thought that this was all hallucination. And I remember seeing a friend of mine.
Good job, mate.
And just said, just keep your eyes on me. I just want to look at you.
Rob was rushed to hospital, suffering from extreme hypothermia, chronic dehydration, sea lice and sunburn. He'd lost nearly 10 kilos in weight.
14 months later, my wife and I had a daughter called Ohomairangi, which means the awakening.
Rob finally retired from the Navy. He now works as a diving instructor in the very waters that so nearly took his life.
I'm happy and I'm alive, and that's what really counts.